Hey, there it is.
I heard it.
All right, everybody, welcome to this week's YAWA. We've got some really cool questions, some really interesting, we think interesting answers, and some stories that might go along with those to kind of put things into perspective. I think Kat and I both get into the habit a little bit of spewing the facts without the real world examples, maybe to back them up. So we're gonna try a little bit of that this time. But first, we have a couple things for you. This is the first video that you are viewing of ours. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. We appreciate it, and we appreciate everybody that subscribes to the channel. Now, I do want to ask everybody that's viewing here, our fans, all of the people right now, one big favor. Everybody has seen the new puppy that we have, Clutch. We got that puppy from Bob at Lone Duck Outfitters in New York. Now, Bob has just kind of bopped back into a YouTube channel. He had a few videos from quite a while ago, and now I've got him on board. I pushed him a little bit, poked the bear. Back on board with putting some videos together for everybody out there about retrievers.
Because when we were working with Sprig, which you may have seen some of his videos on our YouTube channel. If you didn't, definitely check out his playlist. There were tons of really good videos, but there weren't a lot of videos out there on like advanced handling stuff that we're interested in learning more about and doing those videos with Clutch.
Absolutely. So what I need you to do is bop over to Lone Duck Outfitters just after you watch this. Lone Duck Outfitters. We'll throw a link in the description below as well. And he just posted his new video, I believe yesterday or the day before. It's called Extending Marks. It looked like a very simple drill that is going to be very beneficial with some of our young dogs. And we're going to actually try and replicate that with maybe a couple of the puppies and a couple of the young dogs that we have here in the very near future. So bop over there, check it out, subscribe to his channel, and then in the comments below, just so that you can throw a little pink gun pride all over the place, comment pink gun in the comments below. Nothing else. We want to see how long it takes him to figure out where or why this is happening. Let's answer some questions.
Awesome. So I want to get started with a couple really good questions. Actually, they're all going to be really good questions this week. We really appreciate you guys asking the questions. And if you're not sure how to be asking those questions, comment them on these YAWA videos. I do sporadically go through and try and pick some questions that we get on some of our other YouTube videos too that I think, hey, that would be a good one to talk about in a YAWA. So make sure you're asking your questions there. But to get started, from Sam Macy Designs, YAWA question: do you do any kind of maintenance training with your finished dogs? Say Vex, for example. I know you rode him, but any kind of steady to wing and shot refreshers, stuff like that. Cheers from Vermont. So hi,
awesome.
Hi from Kansas. So this is a great question and one that we can give a really simple, easy answer.
No.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
But not with Vex. Vex is basically perfect in every way. Practically perfect in every way.
But that's because he does get the opportunity to work a lot on those refresher training sessions, if you will. We have clients that come out for consults on the regular. Shout out to Ian Moody and Jerry Freeze. They're two of our pretty consistent consult attendees, if you will. They've got some Griffons that they are working with through advanced levels of testing and training.
And doing a nice job with them.
Yeah, and doing a really nice job. So they come out and they need to work with brace mates. So our finished dogs, Nix, Vex, Muddy, Grit, all of those dogs get to be thrown into the mix and worked through training sessions, which include that steadiness with steady to wing, shot, fall, until they're sent for the retrieve. And just the fact of getting handled, getting to work with other dogs keeps them looking pretty sharp.
Absolutely does.
In fact, we actually had a potential client come out the other day that is interested in potentially getting a puppy from us and was interested in seeing some of our dogs work. And I wanted to just throw this out there because it was awesome how we did this. It was getting warmer. It was a little bit, I think it was close to noon.
Yeah, it was too hot.
And it was warming up. So we were like, okay, we can't be in the field much longer. So we just need to do this all at once. So we're like, why not? We threw Nix, Vex, Hatch, Muddy, and Grit. We had 5 dogs. Yep.
5 dogs that were ready to run.
Yep.
Yep.
Threw them all on the ground, ran them together as a giant brace, and they had to point, back, honor, retrieve, all of it steady, to show them, some of the dogs that we have in part of our breeding program. And it was really cool to watch them all work together. Grit Mama, who just had a litter of puppies go home recently, I was expecting her to look a little rusty because she technically hasn't really been on
this is like your first time in the field.
First time in the field after having a litter of puppies. So it's been 5 months or so. Mm-hmm. And she handled the first bird perfectly. So that was really impressive.
And the second bird perfectly.
Yeah. The third bird, she was really close right on top of it. And she did try and take a couple hops, but was very handleable. So really cool to see that with, our dogs that have finished through masters and aren't always in the training routine, to be able to just come out and pick it back up like it's riding a bike, I guess, for the dogs.
Yeah, it's very impressive to watch. The dogs really get to understand training grounds and they understand what they know. And a lot of people get worried about this specifically. Your exact question, what are you doing for maintenance stuff? A lot of people get worried about that when they come and pick up dogs from training. They're like, what do I need to do? How do I get them on birds? How many times do I have to get them on birds between now and the season? The answer is typically little to none. And I mean, the biggest thing you're going to be doing is building your confidence handling, not necessarily doing a whole lot for the dogs themselves. So it's one of those things that, they retain that. They retain that stuff pretty well.
They do. And I know I'm talking about, we do use them frequently when we have consults and things coming out, but we're not training them on the regular. We're utilizing them for those consults because we don't want to overdo it either, because you can get to the point where it's boring. You're just planting birds. They're planted birds. They're not wild birds. And the dogs get bored with it. So it's important to also take them hunting on wild birds so they can enjoy what they're doing a little bit. You'll probably say, oh, well, it's training. Don't they enjoy that? Well, it's pretty routine. It's pretty similar, less of a challenge, if you will, for them. So getting them out on wild birds is also really important.
I think on average, they enjoy it still. But what ends up happening is because you're using non-wild birds is they get pretty naughty sometimes.
That, and we're using similar training grounds over and over and over. So Nixer, my naughty little Nixer, he has gotten really good at tracking people and four-wheelers, and he'll run out, smell where the four-wheeler or the mule or the person walked in to plant a bird, and he'll go, shh, shh, point. Mm-hmm. So he can learn some naughty habits too. So it can be overdone, but yes, we do run them periodically to keep them sharp as far as their steadiness goes. And then other things that we do, if you follow along with our Instagram and Facebook stories, is we condition them by roading them.
Yeah, which you mentioned in there. I know that the dogs get roaded, but that becomes the biggest thing for preparation to the hunting season. If the dog is in shape, the rest of it, will fall right into place.
Yes, sorry. I was swallowing a big gulp of beer. It's ice cold, tastes so good. Needed a nice big swallow to start out. But one thing that I did want to say after we did, no comment from you.
Nope.
So one thing that I did want to say after talking about running those 5 dogs together steady, which was really cool to see, Ethan and I thought that would be a good thing to just throw into a video using the new drone.
Yeah, drone would be a good way to shoot it.
Yeah, using that because, we'd be out there handling the dogs, or I'd have to throw Jess out there handling the dogs and try and walk around, which I have been told in how many videos I need to get a Steadicam or a gimbal or something because I'm not the steadiest field walker with the camera. I'm trying to get better, but so it does make it a little jarring to follow along in the field. So I think the drone, bird's eye view type of interaction with a video like that would be really cool.
Absolutely.
So great question. Next question is from Alden Filko. I just got my little pup, Hudson, a GSP.
Cute name.
Congrats. And I'm finally starting the training process. I currently live in an apartment and
Those were not real words.
restart that sentence. I am currently living in an apartment there was a lot of A's in there. An apartment and so that was my tongue twister. Not able to keep pigeons. Are there any other methods to teach whoa besides positive pigeons which you utilize? And this is a good question because we have been asked a lot lately, and not just even lately. It's a pretty common theme, hey, I live in town. I don't have access to birds on a regular. How can I train my bird dog without birds? And birds make a bird dog, but we get it. You live in town or you don't have access to birds on the regular. So coming up with alternatives isn't a bad idea if it's possible. Now, there are certain things that there's going to be no substitute for birds, but for whoa training, like you're talking about, there actually is.
Yeah, we did a mini series, if you will, with Legend, where we actually show how we utilize his retrieving desire as a form of reward. Similar process, and then also
with bumpers.
With bumpers, yeah. That was what I was missing there. But it's one of those things that what we get caught up doing is showing how we utilize the best and the most efficient and all of the things that work in the dog's favor. And we understand that not everybody has access to all of these things. So we're trying to throw in a few videos here, like Legend series. It's specifically why we did that, to show how to do that. So if you go to our channel playlists, it should fall under whoa training, I believe. I'll double check that, but pretty sure it says whoa training, and there's a couple set of videos. It should be only like 3 videos.
Yeah, something
that show
like that.
how we do that.
Yeah.
Now, just to mention, this is a little thing. The age is important. Typically, we're not doing formal whoa training till the dog is somewhere between the vicinity of 8 and 12 months, depending on their maturity level and all of those things.
And I also wanted to throw out there, because like I said, we get the question, how do I train without birds, a lot. And we actually just shot a video with Thunder doing his gunfire intro using his retrieving desire with bumpers. And that should be posting here pretty soon. So like I said before, or Ethan said before, make sure you subscribe to our channel, hit those notifications so that you don't miss videos like that are upcoming. The important thing that I'm just going to throw out here now, but I also reiterate in that video, is you need to make sure that your dog has enough bumper and retrieving desire and drive that you can utilize that for a gunfire intro. So that's all I will say on that. No more spoilers. Check out the video.
Perfect. What's the next question?
Next question is from Tom Kraus. Hello. Thanks for helping me with my setter and your advice of keeping him from running away. He now handles pretty well, and we placed some chuckers and pheasants in the fields. He is pointing them now, but once they flush, he will chase them a half mile away. How do I train him to remain steady for the flush? We have not shot over him yet. So I wanted to talk about and touch on this question, especially because we just got finished talking about formal whoa training with Legend and being, closer to that year mark before you're really starting that. And I'm not 100% sure how old your setter is, but based on where he's at in training, because people get hung up on what age should I be doing this with my dog? And an age is just a guideline.
Well, it's similar to that book that you were reading where they talk about blocks in training.
Yeah. So,
fun story,
potty training story with our son, Aiden. I'm trying to read and be a good mom.
This was literally day one of our true attempt at beginning the potty training process.
Yes. And we were mildly successful, I would say.
We only went through
I don't even know.
8 or 10 pairs of clean underwear, one good potty on the floor, one good streaking poop through the house. He ran into the other room and reading. We read up on all the things, trying to study and learn and do stuff right. This is our first kitty bopper. So surprisingly enough, potty training a child is very similar to potty training a puppy, minus the fact that the child has a slightly more advanced brain. But If they go off kind of to hide-ish to go to the bathroom, that usually it's kind of a sign that you're getting ready for potty training or close to or ready or whatever.
And that's a signal and sign to look for to get your, I was going to say puppy, to get your puppy on the potty.
Get your puppy on the potty. So he comes trotting. He was hanging out with us and running around and being a little kid. And he runs into the dining room, and I was like, I wonder if he's going to hide to go to the bathroom, because we were kind of waiting on an opportunity for the evening. And I went, Aiden, and he turned around and ran right back through the house. And I was like, okay, well, he didn't have time to. And then I see the poop all down the back of his leg.
Because his little big boy underwear has a little bit bigger leg holes, because Aiden's like a skinny, scrawny little kid. So I couldn't find any smaller ones, so he's in the smallest size they offer, and they're a little gapey along the legs. So, yeah, we digress, though. But in the book that I was reading,
it talks about
blocks,
yeah,
which are stages of training, not necessarily day 1, day 2. So it's more about what you've accomplished before moving on to block 2, not how many days it takes you to get through that stage. And that's the same with dog training a lot of times. So saying, your dog needs to be a year. Well, even if your dog's a year and they don't have some of the other prerequisites and maturity level necessary to start that training, it's not like, oh, well, they're a year, so I can start it, even though I've not done this, or this. Yeah. So with your setter, it sounds like you're trying to do too advanced steadiness at not the right stage. Because if you haven't even shot birds around him yet and you're trying to steady him past the flush of the bird, that's typically something that we don't recommend doing. We want to make sure that the dogs understand their purpose out there, which is pointing birds and then retrieving them. Mm-hmm. And if you try and take away the chase and the retrieve, which is what you're ultimately doing with steadiness training in the beginning, that then you have never even shot birds over them, then you're taking those things away. Your dog's going to get to the point where he's like, I don't even know what I'm doing out here, and it's really not that much fun anymore. So he could get pretty sour about training, or just lack an understanding, or you get through the steadiness and then you can't get him to retrieve because he's like, no. I don't move, remember? You've taught me that. So making sure that they have all of the understanding before you start that steadiness would be important. Now, having the expectation of being steady to flush, and then once the bird takes off, the dog gets to take off and not run away a half a mile, would be your formal WOA training, but also collar conditioning to recall. You should be able to redirect your dog's focus off of that bird when it hasn't been shot and it's not going down, and be able to recall them back to you. That would be something that if you aren't able to do, you need to really go back and proof your collar conditioning to recall.
Yeah, based on what you're saying in the question here, I wouldn't be worried so much about the steadiness aspect of things. It really sounds like, and these are terms that get kicked around a lot, and they kind of mean different things about steady to flush and steady to shot and steady to yada, yada, yada. Essentially what we're saying is the dog should hold point until the bird is in the air in the early stages of development. It's the most natural way for them to hunt and do their thing. Naturally, they want to point, and naturally they want to chase things. That's kind of what they're designed to do. So anytime we take away that chase, it is an unnatural thing, and we need to make sure we have a strong enough understanding. That's what we're hoping, because if you don't, you end up with the sour training or a lack of desire to do the task anymore, because they're like, well, this ain't fun. Why am I going to do this? Now, all of that being said, if you get to the point where you're interested in doing that, we just shot an entire series that is now done with Hatch. I showed from step 1 to step, 12 or something, of how to get him from breaking with the flush of the bird, which is exactly what we're recommending you do at this point, to standing and handleable. Key word there is handleable. No dog is perfect. No dog is going to do everything perfect, but they should get to a point where you can stop them or handle them or keep them from actively chasing, and they should stand a majority of their birds steady to wing, shot, and fall, meaning they stand there until you release them to go make retrieves or move on to continue hunting.
And I just have to toot Hatch's horn a little bit, because he has been a very trainable dog, a very nice dog, a dog that we're super excited to have part of our breeding program. And we were just talking about this because we literally just shot his last video of the series. Like Ethan said, there's going to still be more repping and hunting him and things like that. But we just shot that. It'll also be coming out here pretty soon. And I was like,
probably by the end of the week.
Yeah, I was like, how many sessions did it actually take Hatch? And so I counted up the videos in his playlist, and then we talked about it, and he ran 3 other times that we didn't shoot videos where we were just repping what we had just taught him in the videos, and it ended up being 13 training sessions. 13. Lucky number 13, whatever you want to call it. That's freaking impressive.
You tooting Hatch's horn, you toot my horn.
Definitely Hatch's horn.
Come on now.
I mean, good job, honey.
Thanks.
But check out that playlist. It's also on our YouTube channel, playlist, Steadiness Training with Hatch. Check it out. It's really good stuff. Mm-hmm. So those were some great questions for part 1. We will be back very soon with part 2.